Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and we're going to be doing an overview of the live letter that just aired on March 21st, 2014. The live letter was pretty much all about patch 2.2 with a few details of 2.3 and a little bit of plugging for some of Square Enix's other titles. If you're wondering why I look a little bit tired, it's because it was at 5:30 in the morning and I woke up at 5, and well, let's just say the excitement kept me up, but that's besides the point. Also, hat, you're probably wondering why. Bedhead. That's why. Figured I'd give you that. Anyway, guys, let's get back to it. There were a lot of lore questions towards the end. I am going to leave those out just to sort of shorten the video, because there's something that if you're more interested in, that you can read up on them, and I will be doing videos about them as they are released. So I'm going to leave those out for the time being. We're pretty much just going to go through the first half of the live letter. So without further ado, let's go directly into the officially translated questions before we go into some of the details on some of the stuff that Reinhardt, who, bless his heart, translated for us live at 5:30 in the morning. Also, if you hear my nephew, he just woke up too. But anyway, guys, so they talked about a few things and they kind of just shotgun fired through them right away. Glamour system, is it restricted by class or item level? Basically, they said restricted by class or job. You have to be able to equip it if you want to use it in the glamour system, and it can only be and the user's level is pretty much the set maximum. So when you're level 50, you can wear anything that's level 50 or below, but if you're level 1, you can't wear level 50, you can't glamour level 50 gear, so you won't be seeing level 1s in Allagan. Now, next, there was pretty much just a lot of questions clarifying stuff that I've discussed in prior videos and stuff that we've heard in the previews and whatnot. Will it be possible to use glamours for equipment that occupies both chest and head slots, such as Cal types? Yes, it will be possible to use it as the chest portion. So there are some very specific rules on the glamour system, and they posted it on the official Lodestone, so I recommend you check that out if you want more details about exactly how that's going to work for multiple slot pieces of gear. Will it be changing the appearance of weapons and accessories? Yes, both weapons and accessories can be changed. That is a big question everyone had. Very simple answer, yes. I'm happy. I hope you're happy as well. Will it be possible to register equipment you used glamour on 2 gear sets? Yes, it will save 2 gear sets. Thankfully, because I didn't even think about that. What if your gear sets don't save your glamour system settings? Seems that they do. Now next, are their items only obtainable through the retainer venture system? So they moved off of glamour systems already, and they moved on to retainer ventures. They really, like I said, shotgun fired through them, just popping them off. So they said, are their items only obtainable? And they said, yes, there are. So people wondering how they're going to be useful and why people are going to do them, there are items that are exclusive to them. We didn't really see any, but we know that they're there. Will you be able to store and retrieve items from retainers as well as sell items on the market while they are on ventures? Yes. So we've been speculating you won't be able to do both. Turns out you will be able to do both. Can't say much more about that. I pretty much figured it would be a trade-off, but we're not going to get into that right now. We have a lot to go through, and I really want to keep this video compact. Will you be able to cancel an ongoing venture? Yes. However, you will lose the currency required to send your retainer out on a venture. Remember, you need to give them a token or they will not be able to go out on the venture. It's a currency you need to give them. You will lose that currency if you cancel the venture altogether. How much space will the garden take up? Again, shotgun firing through them. They moved right from retainer ventures onto this. Now, there was a few more details in that, but we'll go over that when I look at the unofficial translation from Reinhardt. Now, Question 9. So how much space will the garden take up? There will be 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. You can buy them regardless of the size of your house, but the bigger your outside is, the more room you have for multiple gardens. So there's your answer there. You can buy any size garden, but just remember how much room it's going to take up in your house. Now, please tell us the level of the new equipment. Now, they skipped over a lot when it came to gardening, so I'm actually going to add something in right here. Yes, there will be items you can only exclusively get through gardening. In fact, if you put 2 different plants next to each other, they can actually crossbreed and give you rare items. You can also get rare seeds from those plants, which will allow you to do a lot more. So yes, there are going to be gardening only items. And yes, you do need to own a house in order to do gardening. It's not something you can do without a free company house or potentially in the future, personal housing. Now, question 10. Please tell us the item level of the new equipment that is to be added. So they said that the maximum for weapons will be 115, and for armor, it'll be 110. I've been saying it for a while. I pretty much figured that's what it was going to be, but now we know for sure. Weapons 115 and armor 110. It gets way more interesting than that. Let me see if the official Q&A has any details about some of that. Will we be able to upgrade our relic weapons to accommodate the increase of the maximum item level? This is where they mention the Saga of the Zodiac weapons, which will basically be your relic upgrading into a Zodiac weapon. It says that after enough time, your weapon's appearance will change. Those weapons that we saw that were Geralt's Masterworks, those don't seem to be the same thing. So I can guess we haven't really seen the appearance of them yet, of the Zodiac weapons. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they look like and how the upgrade path will go. Question 12, will the item level for Disciples of Land in Hand be increasing? The answer was yes. New main hand tools and head equipment, along with some new recipes that require them. So, looks like you won't be getting massive amounts of gear upgrades on your Disciple of Lands in Hand, but just enough to give you the edge in order to participate in the new Disciple of Hand and Lands content, specifically the new recipes that they're mentioning. Question 13, will the item level be the same for the equipment obtained from the second Binding Coil of Bahamut and the equipment you attain with the new Allagan Tomestones, which, for those of you who don't know, are Allagan Tomestones of Soldiery. Horrible, horrible name, but that's what it is. Can't get over it. So, he said that the item levels will not necessarily be the same. This means that your Allagan items will have generally a higher item level than those that you get from the Allagan Tomestones. So what it's preventing people from doing is just saying, why would I go do Coil? I could just farm Soldiery every week and then get the same amount of gear. It will net you a gear upgrade, but your ultimate goal is to try and gear out from the Binding Coil of Bahamut. I hope that doesn't make for problems with itemization, because it was nice having some horizontal degree of your itemization. May need to weigh stats a little bit more differently now that we're having to look at it from this perspective. We'll see how much 110 item level 110 gear there is, what the itemization looks like before we make any harsh judgments. My nephew is really loud. He waited until I started recording to pretty much start crying. As soon as I hit the record button, he started crying. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but anyway, moving on. So what do we got here? Will there be equipment that can be used to round out our gear until we obtain the best gear in 2.2? Yes. The item level of the new equipment will go from 90 to 100 to 110. So they do not expect you to make this big jump from 90 to 110, as opposed to the way we did before, 70 to 90, filling in the gaps in 2.3. Looks like they're going to fill in the gaps right away. We saw some pictures, by the way, and we saw some gameplay. One thing in specific was the Leviathan weapons. Looked like they were item level 110, and I'm talking about Leviathan extreme weapons, as well as the Mogomog weapons. Looked like they were item level 95 or 100. Leviathan definitely looked like 100 though. So it looks like you are going to have a reason to do Leviathan Extreme before going into the Binding Coil of Bahamut 2 in 2.2, just because you want every edge you can get. Sure, if you're going from Allagan to Leviathan, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but I concur, it's an upgrade it's most likely anyway. Now, despite materia melding with equipment, item level does not increase. Is there going to be a way to signify that gear has materia in it by increasing its item level? Right now they said no, but they said they're looking at completely reworking the materia system, so we can expect news about that later. That's good news for me, because right now the materia system is very lackluster. I'm hoping to have more details about this soon, but for right now that's all we can expect. We probably won't get any news about the materia upgrades for probably a couple of months, maybe not until around 2.25 drops. Next live letter very specifically. Now, what's next? Question 16. Can you explain the general flow of the gardening system? Looks like they circled around back to this. Alright, so this is where they explained everything I explained before with the seeds. Gardening will require you place a garden within your estate, so you have to have purchased land. Once you have that, you purchase and place the garden. You can place seeds in the slots. The different sizes have more opportunities for seeds. Once you have planted your seeds, you have to take care of them. You don't need to take care of them massively, so they're not going to die and fade away like they did in Final Fantasy XI, but you do need to take care of them. The items that you can harvest can be attached to the seed that you plant. So when you plant a seed, you know what items you're going to get pretty much. Furthermore, you'll be able to obtain high-level seeds with cross-fertilization, like I said before, and the rare seeds can only be obtained by repeating cross-fertilization. Free Company Master can, of course, set controls to people who are allowed to garden and not. So I pretty much covered that before, but there was another question about it, so I figured I'd elaborate with their official words. Now, when will the Fantasia be on the Mog Station? They said they're finalizing info about this, so please wait. And I have some other information that I'm going to talk about after we're done with these questions about the Mog Station. Some of you are already expecting me to talk about this because I didn't make a video about it, but we'll see. Okay, so half a year has already passed since the game launched. Let us know about add-ons. That's what this question is about, and I'm so glad they answered it. They pretty much said that the initial structure is finished, and they just need to decide when to release it. So they're pretty much going to look at the PlayStation 4 release, and then they're going to continue working on it. They apologize that it's been more than 6 months, but they said to please wait just a little longer. So we may get some more official news about add-ons in the next live letter. Fingers crossed, not confirmed, just saying. Now, with the item level 90 equipment, just how far can you go into the current content? He said you should be able to clear Leviathan Extreme and Good King Mago Maga Extreme with item level 90 equipment. And like he said, you'll want to get these drops battles for ... I don't think I should say anymore. Now, while I was watching that, when he said you're going to need these weapons for ... and then didn't say anything, he could have easily said for progressing through new content, but he didn't. So it's something that we don't know about yet. I have a hunch it's the Zodiac system. I thought for a second maybe you could use these weapons to give to Gilgamesh as an offer to fight him, but as the more I thought about it, the less that seemed likely, especially with some of the comments that are going to be coming later. So they're probably going to be required as part of your upgrade for your Zodiac weapon. Just speculation on that part, but just saying they are keeping a secret about that right now. So then we had, when will personal housing be implemented? They said they're monitoring stress conditions of the free company housing right now so they could get a better idea. In the unofficial translation, they did say they're aiming for 2.3 still, though. That is still the time they want to implement personal housing, and they're actually making some server upgrades in 2.2 to prepare for personal housing in 2.3. Now, what kind of content will the ventures entail? Now, again, we swap back to the retainer ventures. Just reading the questions in the order that they were posted on the official forums. This is question number 21. First, you have to clear a quest, prerequisite, in order to allow it. So, retainer, class and level similar to players. Retainers will have classes and levels. Changing to another class will reset the experience points you have gained. Retainer levels cannot exceed the level of the player. So if you're a level 30 player, you can't have over a level 30 retainer. Retainer equipment, you can equip the retainers with gear. Equipment will affect the outcome of ventures. So the better that the gear is, the better your ventures will be. Venture chips, when beginning a venture, a specialized currency known as a venture chip will be used. We don't know anything more about it at this point, pretty much. And areas that can be explored with ventures will be added as your retainers level increases. So the higher your level, the more places and the more types of monsters they can kill. We've seen this in the trailer even. You could just take a look at that to understand what they mean. That was the end of the question 21. Question 22 is, when will Grand Companies get new ranks? They pretty much said 2.3. They said it didn't make it for 2.2. I'm thinking that the reason why it didn't make it is because they want to make it more important, maybe, now that we're actually going to be progressing more with our Grand Companies, make them more influential. So I have a feeling that something from the community feedback affected that timing of the release, but I guess we'll see. Question 23, when will we be able to enter the Crystal Tower as a pre-made? They said not in 2.2, but in 2.3. They apologized for that, but I thought in 2.2, how many people are going to be doing the Crystal Tower anyway? 2.3 is really the time when they're going to release a new Crystal Tower. I think that is the right time to release it, but they're apologizing, so thank you for the apology, Square Enix. Will any adjustments be made to the Wolves Den in 2.2? They said they'll be adding ways to obtain PvP equipment and close the rank gap when being matched, which means if you're rank 1, you won't get matched with rank 30 people, which, thank goodness, it's the only reason I really don't PvP right now, because I was like, hey, I'll take 2 weeks off to do PvE. Join in, I'm getting one shot by all the summoners because they have full PvP gear. And they'll be having a large-scale update to PvP in patch 2.25. On the stream, they also showed off some very early renderings of what the frontline areas, which, by the way, is going to be a sort. It's based on there's an old MMO that it's based on. Called RV. I think it's like a realm versus realm, but he didn't say Guild Wars 2. He said, I think it may have been Dark Age of Camelot. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was quoting Dark Age of Camelot, realm versus realm PvP, sort of being what Frontlines is going to be. I have the official translation, so I could just read it, but we'll see. Unofficial translation. Now, we finally got some news about the Gold Saucer. It doesn't look like it's going to be called the Golden Saucer, just the Gold Saucer, based on the question. Could, of course, be a mistranslation, but whatever. They said they're currently in the process of planning out the content for it. Current plans have 3 major features when it is implemented. On the unofficial translation, they said they're aiming for 2.3 again for the Golden Saucer, so please look forward to it, TM. Allegedly. Will we ever be able to summon our companions after registering for duty? While we plan to have it ready for 2.3, we're having difficulty implementing it. We will follow up on the matter when I have more information. Sorry, still don't know much about summoning your chocobos while you're in the duty finder, unfortunately. Will there be any class or job adjustments? No major ones. So don't expect like what you saw happen to Warrior. Don't expect that. Just expect maybe a fix here and there, bug fixes. I know specifically they're looking at Eos and Selene in order to fix their behavior, and pets in general, so Ifrit and Garuda and Titan as well. So what else do we got here? Question number 28. When will we be able to use the duty roulette with a pre-made party? 2.3. Another thing that they're not doing till 2.3, but at least they're answering and letting us know instead of keeping us in the dark. That much I appreciate. Will you be increasing the number of furnishing you can place inside and outside the house? They said it's difficult to do because of server stress, so they're monitoring the situation now, and along with personal housing, they'll probably implement it in 2.3. So give it a little bit of time before they increase the cap. Basically more the server structure kind of deal going on here. So I hope they do, because honestly, it's not enough room, and there's even the large houses, you usually have large gaps of empty space that you wish you could put something in, even something on the wall. And I know I don't know that the small or medium houses need more, but I don't know. I'd have to go check them out. Most of the time, I just see small houses have a jacuzzi, a bed, and everything you can possibly stuff into it. So, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see what they do with the basement being added after all. Will you be adding rewards for certain jobs similar to the Unicorn mount? Yes. Warrior and Paladin. Now, these screenshots are kind of bad because I took them midstream and the quality was set to medium and it was playing. They look bad, but basically there's going to be a bear mount and a lion mount, which both look pretty cool. This will be to address the lack of tanks, but these mounts will also be implemented as a thank you to players currently playing as tanks. So, mount specific, tank specific mounts, English, I don't care, it's 8 AM, whatever. And they said they're also going to be increasing the roll bonus in the duty roulette to 7 times what it is currently. So does that mean I do one dungeon, I get like 8 levels? You get a lot of EXP from the duty roulette. If you get 7 times, you're never going to run with those people that, it's like, hey, it was really nice running with you guys. I just gained 7 times more EXP than you guys did, so I'll see you later. You guys level too slow. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Question 30, by the way, I skipped. We'll come back to it. I'm trying to get to the point where it gets to the lore questions, and I can just kind of skip over those, because if you're interested in the lore, I'll be doing videos about those individually when there's more than just a sentence worth of information. So question 32, are there any plans to release a roadmap? They pretty much just said no. So they're trying to update things more on the fly. Do this instead of a roadmap. Once things calm down for the PlayStation 4 version, we'd like to inform you of all of our development plans and status through a task list that is similar to the one they used in 1.0, which is very old and it was very much loved by the community, seeing that roadmap. So don't expect a roadmap. Not quite yet, and I wouldn't exactly call it a roadmap. It's more of a list of things they want to do and projected, and maybe some of them will probably have projected release times, but not all of them. Question 33. Now this is a big one. Some of you, and I'm gonna lead up to this one. Some of you may have heard from me in a recent video that an interview revealed that they are thinking about releasing a retainer service for the Mog Station, where you pay for a retainer, and it's an extra retainer. That's what it is. And a lot of people have been going crazy with the whole free-to-play cash shop thing. Well, we did get a little bit more information about it. It is indeed a thing. It was actually said way before this question was asked in the forums, and I'm sure that the forums are already much abuzz about it. So, how much will it cost? $2 for a retainer, and you can hire up to 2 of them. So you can spend an extra $4 to get those extra 2 retainers. What makes this different? It's not a one-time fee. It gets added onto your subscription. So, yeah, it's $2 every 30 days if you want that extra retainer for those extra ventures, that extra inventory space, that extra space to sell on the market board. Kind of weird considering that the entire game, I'm not going into legacy or discounts or anything, just the average cost of the game is $15. $2 for a retainer is a pretty ballsy move if you ask me. It's a little bit more than an eighth of the cost of the current subscription fee for a new retainer. So I don't know exactly. I'm sure there will be some backlash, but because you'll see later that backlash has already affected some of their other decisions regarding the veteran rewards. So we'll see right now. Anyway, question 34, please show us the Kobold area, the Beast Tribe quest. Obviously I can't show you, but it's just a little dip behind the thing. It's very similar to the other ones, but it's just an additional area on the map. Now, will the music of the Gilgamesh battle in the Hildebrand quest line of quests be Clash on Big Bridge? Yes, of course. Please add a Hildebrand pose emote as a reward. They're discussing it. Of course, Hildebrand's clothing, they would like to get that from the quest. They said we'd like to add that after a bit of time passes in the quest. A Hildebrand minion, they said we'll let them know you're very interested. Wind up Hildebrand. Can't complain. Dropping bows on him. How hard will the Gilgamesh battle be? We designed this with the idea that everyone would like to have a good time, so difficulty won't be that hard. With 8 people, with 8 people that you know, so you know a group of 8 people that all know each other, you should be able to win on the first time. That literally means don't even learn the fight. You should be able to win on the first time. Now, because that was said, there's actually another question. I'm going to skip over one. Will Gilgamesh make an appearance again? They said we can't say for sure, but please look forward to the future. That's a yes. I mean, one thing that's big, everyone's seen the picture of him with 8 arms. Right now, we've only seen him with 2. He's got to be making a resurgence. There's no way he's done and gone, but we'll see what happens from this point on. I think that's just them saying, we don't want to say too much. Hildebrand quests are really funny, and I hope you continue these quests in the future. They said they'll pretty much be doing them up until the end of 2.x, which means in 3.0, the expansion. They may no longer do them, but if he's popular enough, how long will the series go on? You know, we can see, I don't know, hopefully forever, because I would love to see Hildebrand follow us to find some new cases to solve in 3.0. Now, at this point, they started getting into a little bit more of the lore. You know, they started voices for Hildebrand, you know, specifically talking to the guy who writes the main scenario quest. He joined the stream at this point. We had seen a few other things, but there are some questions in here I'd like to answer. For example, how does the echo buff work? Well, this was the level, remember when I said I skipped question 30? This is question 30. So basically, here's how it's going to work. I don't have any screenshots, but I can put some numbers on the screen. All the current hard mode primals, so Ifrit, Titan, and Garuda, the, what else? The Chimera, Hydra, and I'm missing one. I can't remember which it is. But those will have a much stronger echo buff. Those will be getting the echo. And it will be implemented so every time you die, you get it. But you have to have been in combat for at least 3 minutes. So if you fight Titan and you die at 2 minutes and 59 seconds, you will not get the echo buff when you try again. It must be at least 3 minutes before you die. Every time that 3-minute period drops and you die, you will get a 10% buff up to a maximum of 50% for HP, damage, and curing, pretty much. So, Titan hard mode, Garuda hard mode, Ifrit hard mode, if you really want to, you can spend 15 minutes dying and then just blow through the fight. I don't think that's the optimal way to do it, but I think it does give incentive to groups to not leave after the first wipe on certain things, unless you wiped in less than 3 minutes, in which case, can't do much for you. Now, that's for those content. Now, for extremes that are currently in the game, Ifrit, Garuda, and Titan, as well as for Ultima, it will be implemented, but only at 5% every 3 minutes, if you die every 3 minutes, so the maximum will be 25% HP, damage, and healing. Now, of course, that leaves the Binding Coil up to question. Weekly, you know, with the weekly cap being removed, with it being added to the Duty Finder, they're doing it in multiple phases. So here's how it's going to work. Again, just putting it on the screen, I don't have a picture of it. So, for the first 2 weeks after 2.2 drops, it will only be in the Duty Finder. You will not be able to solo queue for it. You can only queue up with 8 people. It is merely just a convenience. After the 2-week mark, the Echo will be introduced. When the Echo is introduced, you will obviously get, you know, the damage increases. Also, they will be nerfing some of the monsters. I know in turn 4, I think they said that the Clockwork Knights will specifically have their damage reduced. And you'll be getting a little bit of the Echo buff there. And from that point on, you can solo queue in the Duty Finder and be matched cross-server. 4 weeks in, more buffs will be added. 6 weeks in and 8 weeks in, more buffs will be added. And after the 8-week mark, they think that the 30% increase to HP damage and healing should be enough on top of the nerfs. They are also nerfing high voltage. We can assume they're removing the paralyze from it and just making it do AoE damage. We didn't get many details about that, but that's pretty much how it is going to work. Remember, all this stuff is going to be on the official forums, and there will be a link below for a more text-based description on it so that it's a little bit less confusing. Now, the rest is pretty much all lore. I'm just going to skim through this pretty quickly. You know, certain NPCs not appearing in the story. Where can we expect the expansion to go? They said the theme of it is the 1,000-year war. That tells me Ishgard and Dravnavia, because they've been at war for a very long time, the Ishgards and the dragons. So that could very well be where we're going, is Dravnavia in the expansion. But they also mentioned Sky being a big factor of it. Dragon, Sky. Speculation, but it's a good thing to speculate. Can you shed some light on what the theme would be? You know, where will we ever visit the Charlayans? Will Eda make an appearance? Not Eda from the story, Eda, I should say. She's somebody from the main story as well, which I will be talking about in a separate video. Releasing the lore from the 5 years prior to A Realm Reborn, how the realm has been being rebuilt. They're talking about that. Certain dragon enemies. Dragon is, Nidhogg specifically, who's mentioned at the end of the Dragon Questline. Will we ever get to fight him? Are there any cutscenes you enjoyed specifically? Will there be any quests added where we use the power of the Echo to experience events such as the founding of the 3 city-states, more lore things? They said we're looking at modern Eorzea, but we'll talk about it later. And then they also clarified that Ivalice, Vana'diel, and Eorzea are completely different worlds, and they are in no way, they're not even on the same planet apparently. They're just completely all in other worlds, but that the links in the names and everything, there is actually a reason for that, and you can expect more in the future. The Void is my guess. I mean, it makes sense to me. And that's pretty much all we had for the official translations. Now, I do have the unofficial translations over here. Obviously, you know, they're not as structured, so I'm just gonna go through these really quickly. A few other things that happened. He played some Theatrhythm, and we got to see this amazing, I think it was 16-bit, not 8-bit, 16-bit Titan Extreme fight. That was amazing. If you can, try and Google that right now, 16-bit Titan Extreme fight, and you should hopefully be able to find it. Oh, they said the background music was 8-bit, so it was probably 8-bit graphics. I was busy writing, so it was really hard for me to tell. So what else do we got? Live demo. He showed off some Allagan gear. They mentioned a few other things about performance with the servers, and apologizing for that. Any new information about the Gold Saucer? No, we don't need that. 24-man being able to go into CT. PvP adjustments, specifically talking about matching. They spoke about Frontlines very briefly. Big PvP patch in 2.25. The Zodiac system, how it'll be upgradable every patch. So it's pretty much not really much missed. But if you were watching, you get to see like a few little details and, you know, a few words that obviously you wouldn't get in the live letter. So be sure to follow Reinhardt on his Twitch channel. He does stream other things, so go support him. He does these live translations for us every time there's a live letter. So go out there and show your support for him by following on Twitch. His link is in the description below. One big final bit of news: patch notes are being released, so they're probably already out by the time you see this video. I'm gonna go check them out so I can start making videos on the patch notes, because I'm sure we're gonna get some interesting things. One bit of news: it's not the entire bit of patch notes. More of it will be added over the course of the next week before we get to the actual patch. So I will be doing sort of staggered videos based on what is available in the patch notes. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. What did you think? Specifically, what did you think about the retainer thing? I'm kind of bummed about it, I'm not going to admit. I personally don't need any more retainers, so I won't be doing it. Retainer Ventures, that's the only thing that makes it kind of awkward for me, is Retainer Ventures, because that's useful content. So when you add the ability to pay for more retainers with real money, I don't know, you're giving people more avenues to get that gear, unless there's going to be some sort of restriction on it. One other bit of news, also, veteran rewards for 360 and 450 days, which you saw me make that video about the other day, they're being combined all into the 1 year. So now, for 360 days, you will get a Wind-Up Odin, a Wind-Up Warrior of Light, 50 free Aetheryte tickets, and the Barding of Light. So you will get all 4 of those things for your 1 year subscription. That makes the one. And a lot of people are like, why are you complaining about something that you get just for playing? It's only because Yoshi P sort of hyped it up. Oh, the 1 year rewards are going to be amazing, and then they weren't. If he hadn't done that, I would have just been like, I could have expected more from 1 year, but I get it for playing the game anyway, which I'm going to be doing. So I'm not going to complain, but let me guys know what you thought about this live letter. If you don't tune into them live, definitely check them out when they're uploaded to YouTube. I know they usually don't come with subs, but they are a pleasure to watch, especially if you like just seeing Yoshi P having fun with certain things. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share for more Final Fantasy XIV information. Be sure to check out the official Q&A and the unofficial Q&A. They're both in the description below. I am going to go check out the patch notes, so be sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, because you're going to be getting tons of video updates and, well, just updates in general. Just text updates, video updates, whatever. Find out when I'm streaming. By the way, you should follow me on Twitch. Probably going to be streaming some Final Fantasy X HD later today. Maybe some Extreme Primals over the weekend, but it should be fun. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.